All right, boys and girls, here's the goal of our next project. We are going to create a design with lots of overlapping shapes. I'm going to show you an artist right now and how she uses overlapping shapes in her art. So this is an artist and her name is Maya Hayek. She is a mural artist, so that means she makes paintings on the sides of walls, very, very large. So here's a picture of her and she is painting her murals. The great thing about her murals is that she uses lots of shapes and colors in her murals, so they're very interesting to look at. So she can cover a whole side of a building with all of her details of her shapes and her colors. She also uses something called overlap. Overlap is when many shapes share space, and some are in front and some are behind, and there's lots of shapes that are overlapping. That means they're sharing space. So her art is very detailed, very colorful, and she uses overlap. So this is what we're going to try and practice today. So here's my design, and I'm going to show you how I got here. So I'm going to start with a colored piece of paper, and I'm going to write my name on the back. Now, boys and girls, when we talk about overlap, we're talking about shapes that share space. So think about if I was going to draw a circle. My next shape, I want to overlap my circle. So think about the circle being in front and the next shape being behind. So I can draw another circle, but I have to start behind the circle. So I'll start at the edge and go around and stop. Now this shape is behind. Now if I want to make a third circle, I can start here and go around the first two and stop. So now it looks like I have 3 circles right in a line here. So I can keep doing this and overlapping and getting bigger and bigger and making lots of circles that overlap. We kind of practiced this when we were making our flower petals. So now there's many circles that are overlapping each other. So we're going to use our markers today. We can use skinny markers and the thick markers, and we're going to start to draw some shapes that overlap. So in my design, I am using some shapes that I've traced with stencils and some that I've just drawn myself. So if I want to use a stencil for a shape, then I am going to use the skinny markers because they are great for tracing little details from stencils. So if I want to start with this star here and I trace the shape of the star, now I'm going to try to overlap some new shapes. So maybe I want to take this ruler and make some overlapping shapes behind the star. So I'll just place this anywhere. So now maybe I'll take a different color. Now to trace this ruler, I want to overlap. So I need to start at the side of the star and go around, and I'm not going to touch the inside of the star. I'm just going to go around. So I need to jump over that little corner of the star right there and go around and stop at that corner. So now that shape is behind. Now I can keep doing this again. I can overlap again. Start at the edge, go around, stop at that spot, hop over it, and trace the rest. So now that is the third one behind the first two. Now I can keep using my stencils to make more and more shapes that are overlapping. So maybe I'll start over here. Maybe this time I want the star to look like it's behind. I want the star to overlap the circle. So I can put the star at the edge here, start at the circle and go around and trace the star. Maybe I'll make another one at the side here. Okay, so I'm going to keep tracing shapes or drawing my own shapes. Maybe I can just start to draw my own. Like I want some squares to overlap each other. So each time I'm going to start at the edge of a square that's already drawn, and I'm not running into its space. I'm just going around it. So this is what I do not want to see, boys and girls. I do not want to see circle, then circle, then circle. These are all running into each other's space. This is not overlap. This is not overlap. Nope, I need to start with a shape and go around that shape. Okay, so in my design, I also added some shapes like my hand. I can trace my hand, and I can just draw some shapes or trace some shapes. So think about covering your whole paper with lots of shape details and make your design very interesting, just like our artist Maya Hayek, and how she kind of covers her whole space with lots of overlapping shapes. Now, in Maya's art, she also does something interesting. On top of her shapes, she puts some patterns and some designs. So on top of my shapes here, once I've sketched out all the shapes, then I can go back over each shape and put some colors and some designs. Making sure I'm only in the space of this one circle, I can add some patterns. I can go over here and I can just color in this one rectangle right here. I'm going to outline it first. And then I'm going to color on the inside. Making sure I'm not running into that star, making sure I'm not running into the shapes behind it. I'm just coloring this one little rectangle and its space right here. So I'm coloring some shapes, I'm adding some patterns. Maybe I can do a circle pattern inside of the circle. Maybe I can do a dot pattern inside of just this square over here, making sure I don't touch the arrow, only the space of the square. And I'll think of some interesting patterns. Remember, a pattern is when I repeat a shape, a line like these, or a color like these, okay? All right, so that is our goal for today. Make sure you overlap, make sure you add some details with colors and patterns, and make sure you fill your space.